Pastors Richie and Leanne, can you believe that we have been friends now for like almost 25 years?
Wow.
That's incredible.
And who would have ever dreamed in all of our lives that we'd be raising children side by side?
You guys are on our board.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
We serve on the board of the church, so we've gotten to see some incredible things over the years. Speaking of which, man, God is doing some amazing things right here in Forney, Texas.
Well, obviously, God had his hand on it because nobody would have thought to come to Forney, Texas, you know? And we actually met, as you guys know, in college, got married, traveled, did youth ministry together for several years, and landed in Longview, Texas. We were there for a few years. And the fall of 2004, guys, I just really started feeling something. And I went to Leanne and I said, why don't we just start going down and doing Bible studies? Me and her and 3 other adults started talking, started having Bible studies. I remember I'd preach to the balcony.
Yep,
I'd say one day, you know, and we
Yes.
actually started Easter of 2005, and we had 57 people, and 50 of them were her family that felt sorry for us. And we had 39 the next Sunday. 27 showed up the next. We went down as low as 17 people, kids and all.
My mom and I were standing in the back of this gymnasium that we were, you know, turning over into a sanctuary, and I was looking at this tiny little group of people and thinking, I told her, I said, Mom, I don't know if we made the right decision, like I'm whispering in church, you know.
And I remember driving down the road on 635, and we had a flat tire. And we were on the way to lunch with your mom and dad. And I got in the truck and started crying. And my father-in-law said, son, you ain't gotta cry, this is a flat tire. And I said, it's not the flat tire. It's that we could be so many other places, and nobody, first of all, even cares if we're in Forney, and some would wish we weren't in Forney. But you know, slowly but surely, God started growing the church. We moved to the theater, moved to another school, rented a building, bought this building, and had some miraculous things.
I remember the first building you rented because we came there. We came there and we sewed into the church when we came. And I remember, but you know what? We knew on that first visit that something special was happening in that church and in this city. And it wasn't long before you called me and you had this place.
Right. God opened a door. A few years later, we went down the street and bought some property, 40 acres.
Yeah, and I want to say, it's very cool because we would drive back and forth down this main road, and he would say, I can't even tell you how many times he would say, we're gonna buy that land one day. No money, we have nowhere near any kind of money to be able to afford it. We're gonna buy that property one day. We're gonna buy that property one day.
That land was marked.
I believe that.
You know, God marks things.
So amazing.
And he's marked this congregation. You know what, in this church, it's been a massive part of our church, right?
You're moving my heart so much, just seeing and hearing what God's done in you. We've seen it and been able to witness it, but not only have you made a local impact here, you've made a global impact, and you've also sown into our hearts the faith to be able to stand, because we've watched you stand through adversity, and we've been able to stand through some really hard times.
A lot of people don't know this, but FreeLife Church was the first church to believe in Hope City United. You guys sowed $1,000 a month for the first year of our existence and helped us get started. That was in 2016. In 2020, 300 people gave their life to Christ at Hope City United. That church would not be existent if it weren't for FreeLife in Forney, Texas. And you know what? It's not the end, it's just the beginning.
I believe that.
You have sown into churches, and this church has been a life-giving place for so many pastors, so many friends. You've done the Refuel Conference. I'm telling you, we're here just because we wanted to say thank you. We believe in Imagine. We believe in what is happening here, but we're not the only ones that want to say thank you. There are a lot of people who are actually here to surprise you tonight who want to say thank you as well. Guys, you want to come on in?
I found the church by the grace of God back in 2014. I was looking for a church that I could start serving in. I had an opportunity to serve on the parking team, and then in 2017, I was able to bring my lovely wife here, back then the fiance, with her and her daughter here from the Dominican Republic, and introduce her to FreeLife Church and the family.
When I arrived here, was in 2017. The more impact in my life was how people here made me feel welcome.
Oh, yeah.
The spirit, when you open the door, everybody was smiling. Everybody would try to understand my accent. But when I came, and Pastor Rich and Pastor Leon started to talk, say, this is my church. Look, every people here, Mexican people, American people, black, talking in Spanish, talking in English, for me was amazing. And I love my church.
Well, pastors Richie and Leanna, we do thank you. You know, it's our story is kind of unique. You know, I had a neck injury. I was so busy. I was given pain pills. Just spiraled out of control. You know, for over 2 years I was taking, and of course I had to take more and more and more. And I hid it from her. She didn't know from a lot of people in our life, and we were coming for 10 years at this point, and I was taken for about 2.5 years.
Serving God.
Being giving,
here,
and
giving.
Those, I know for a fact those weren't in vain. That's why I'm here right now. I was to the point where I just, enough was enough, and I had told her, and we agreed that I'd go to a rehab for 2 weeks. And the way this church had come together for us, I mean, if I looked at half of them, I'd be in tears right now, because they were there. I really didn't have that man in my life, that godly example, and he's been that for me. He came, you know, I mean, how many pastors would come, see you through this? He came and brought me I still have it at home, a prayer cloth. And just the prayers of the people here, and it is a family.
It was not easy. Everything's exploding, everything's falling apart. Our life is in a complete funnel of just, I don't know what's tomorrow holding, I don't know what it's gonna look like. And you guys were there, and the church was there. Not just you guys, but the entire church. So I can imagine not having a family to be there and support both of us individually, together as a couple. It was amazing.
One day we came to church and Pastor Richie was talking about alcohol. Not the whole sermon, but he just happened to kind of say, well, as for me and my house, these are a few things I learned in the Bible not to do. Not because you can't just take a drink, but sometimes it doesn't stop there. And when you come from a household of alcoholics, you can't start there either. I remember Michael went home, he didn't say a word after the sermon, so I didn't know how that...
I mean, we both grew up in a house where that's all family members did. Yeah. Alcohol, abuse alcohol. I grew up without a father, and because of alcohol. Yeah. And so when you deal with that, you don't see it till your eyes are open and you see that. And as she was saying, when we went home that day after Pastor Richie had spoke that message, I went home and I sat there, and I remember that I had beer and I had bottles of alcohol, and I went and I threw every one of them down the drain. Wow. Every one of them down the drain, and I said, from this point on, no, I'm gonna break the cycle right here. Wow. I'm breaking the family cycle right here so that my kids do not grow up in a household like I did and like my wife did.
Man, thank God. Wow. Thank God for the day that you walked into FreeLife Church.
Pastor Richie and Leanna, I want to say thank you so much for always emphasizing on how important it is to not just come to church and sit in a seat, but to get connected. We had a family member, her cousin Jake, and you know, he was going through a rough patch. A few years, and he was in and out of jail and had made some wrong decisions in life. But by the grace of God in prison, I remember him coming into my house and telling me the testimony that he had, and it was similar to mine on how he heard from God while he was in prison, saying that he needed to make FreeLife his church home.
Wow.
So he obeyed God when he got out, And he completely, I mean, God did a 180 on his life, completely transformed. And I mean, we saw this, and you were seeing the smile get put back on his face. You know, a lot of people go through those things and make those decisions, but he came back here and God restored his personality, restored him, had his relationship with his kids.
Yeah, he was bringing his kids with him.
Yeah, his kids were coming.
Changing. His kids got to witness the complete turnaround of him giving his life to Christ and going from one person to the complete opposite and following God with his whole entire heart.
Jake had us saying all in, like we do here.
Yeah, that's right.
And when he couldn't be all in here, it kind of tugged on him a little bit, and it was. He had a car wreck, and it didn't end well. And you know, we didn't lose Jake. We know exactly where he is because of the obedience he had to come here, commit and surrender his life over to Jesus. We know exactly where Jake is right now, and you guys have played such an important role in his life, and it's his testimony, just us being able to be here and talk about him is gonna save so many more because it's his testimony and he lived it and he walked it out. And when you do that, God will change everything.
I just want to say thank you for not giving up on Jake, for not giving up on the special ones like that. And you guys just have that evangelism heart to see people. Y'all truly are living out our theme, anything and everything short of sin, to reach people far from God. And so we want to say thank you for that. And we're not confused. This is not just about us, not about me and you. We may have said yes 16 years ago coming up. This isn't just about us saying yes. We're here today and going forward, and our future is bright because many people around us have said yes as well. People that have come and have gone, that said yes during seasons. And there's people that are still gonna come that we don't even met yet. There's some that are gonna come back, and we're gonna welcome with open arms. And God's just building a rich, rich family. I'm just excited and can't wait to see as we all say yes during this season. Ephesians 3:20 is going to come to a reality in Free Life, that he does exceedingly and abundantly above all we can ask or imagine, according to the power at work in us. Yeah. It's in us. And so I'm excited about our best days being ahead of us.
Absolutely. What a beautiful night. I can imagine some great things are going to happen this year for Free Life Church, for sure.